Hi, I'm Marco from Performance Hypnotherapy. Today's video is about being empowered. So what stands in the way of being empowered? Well, as said in a previous video, things like helplessness, hopelessness, and even powerlessness really stand in the way of being empowered, and they've long been associated with an unhappy life, low self-esteem, and unfortunately, even depression. But conversely, the opposite is also true. Hopefulness and empowerment have long been associated with a happier life, a more meaningful and purposeful life. These are processes which we learn. Research clearly shows that. We learn helplessness from, be it our parents, the people we've been around, the experiences we've had in life, and even the self-talk that operates in our mind. So isn't it a plausible question to ask, if we learn those negative processes, can we not learn the positive opposite processes just as easily? Thankfully, the answer is yes, as research clearly shows. There's a really good story which illustrates that. One day there was a samurai warrior who for the first time started to feel feelings of uncertainty. He had a long and distinguished career, but there were a new batch of samurai warriors who were coming up, and they were competent and had the desire to become the best. This samurai warrior started to feel inferior, started to feel uncertain about his ability as a samurai warrior, so he sought the advice of a famous Zen master in the area. He visited the Zen master, and there were many people coming to visit this Zen master. So the Zen master asked the samurai warrior to wait patiently until the end of the evening when everybody had left, and then he would consult him. The samurai warrior waited patiently, and sure enough, at the end of the evening, everybody had left. The samurai warrior said, "Well, I've waited here patiently, so give it to me. Give me the answer. Why am I feeling uncertain? How do I get rid of these feelings of inferiority? Why am I anxious about being anxious now?" The Zen master said, "Step outside, please." They stepped outside, and he showed him two trees which were outside the building. And he said, "Look at these two trees. They are each beautiful in their own way. They each have their own strengths. They each have their own specific, unique characteristics. You also notice that one of the two trees is slightly higher or taller than the other tree. In all my time meditating here in front of these trees, I've never heard one compare itself to the other. I've never heard one say, 'Hey, I'm taller than you,' or the other one say, 'I'm shorter than you. I feel superior to you,' or 'I feel inferior to you.' They've never done it. Why do you think that is?" The samurai warrior immediately responded, "Well, that's easy. Trees don't compare themselves to each other. They simply don't do it." And the Zen master said, "Well, why ask me then? You already know the answer." I think it's an important story because researchers in the field of happiness often ask people the question, what makes you happy? And they get all sorts of impressive data about what makes people happy. They publish this data on the internet and all sorts of research reports. And we read these research reports, but there is an inherent problem with this question. If you ask yourself the question, what makes me happy? You are externalizing your, what we call in psychotherapy, locus of control from within you to without you. And unfortunately, or fortunately perhaps, happiness comes from within and not from without. When we ask ourselves the question, what makes me happy? We can come up with all sorts of reasons. We can say, well, the sun, when it's sunny, when the weather's good, or when the traffic is good on the way home, when my spouse speaks to me in a particular way, when my boss treats me in a certain manner. The problem with that is that we are making the association in our mind that something outside of ourselves is what is stimulating our emotions. Now, although that is partially true, reality is an interpersonal phenomenon. In other words, we don't just live on our own. We live with other people, things, contexts. But what we really want to do if we want to be empowered is internalize that locus of control. We want to recognize, as the tree does, that happiness comes from within and not from without. The thoughts and processes that we learn and use in our mind are what generate our sense of happiness, our sense of empowerment, just as the metaphor of the trees show. Gandhi said that happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. Perhaps it's useful to emphasize one word in that quote. Happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. Thank you for listening to today's video. I hope you found value in it, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.